Hello, my yarn smithing lovelies. It's really good to have you back with me again in my studio here in central UK. As you can see out of the window, I don't know if you can see, it's really stormy here at the moment. So today's topic, we're going to talk about buying yarn on cones and the advantages and disadvantages, and we're also going to address a bit more hate. Look, I'm a bald fat bloke talking about yarn and knitting and crochet. There's much more important things going on in the world than to be sending me hate, but I'm going to address it. I'll see you in a minute. So, first things first, I really want to do before I forget, I want to thank one of my Patreon members over there. If you've not seen the Patreon site, pop over and have a little look. We've got a really nice community going there. We're just about to start a new knit along with actually some of the yarn I'm going to show you today. But one of my lovely Patreons over there is a hand spinner of yarn, and she sent me a bag of this gorgeous stuff. Ooh. I'm a real saddo when it comes to stuff arrives in the post and I open it and I'll just sit and stroke it for a bit. Anyway, Susan Topper, that is, thank you so much. It is lovely. I mean, gorgeous, actually. So I'm going to sit on it for a little while before I make anything with it. There's enough, I think, probably to make either a vest top or a waistcoat. But I'm going to sit on it, but it's so special. I don't want to just dive in and do something for the sake of it, but it's stunning, honestly. It's absolutely gorgeous. So that aside, let me put that over there. The ones who've been following will notice the amount of yarn. This is the table that I use for projects that I do for the YouTube channel and for the Patreon channel. So when you can see that piling up a little bit there, you'll know that there's more stuff on the way. So, more hate. Anybody who watches knows that I quite enjoy it, because we can have a little chat about it afterwards. I know I'm going to get hate actually today because I've just noticed, look, me fluffy old bald head and I've not had a shave. So I'm going to get some hate for that. But look, we're friends, we're family. I'm welcoming you into my studio. I can look how I like. But you watch, there'll be some hate. So first lot, I'm going to I'll leave all the hate up, by the way, for anybody who hasn't seen me before. You can just go to the comments. All the hate's there. I never take anything down. I leave up everything that everybody says so you can see who they are and what saddos they are. Saddo number one. Now, this person, I'm saying person because if you saw last week's, you'll know I got into trouble because I was supposed to know what pronouns they wanted me to use without them telling me, because like I'm psychic now, you know. So I'm going to say this person. They have been leaving a comment pretty much, you know, every other video probably, trying to tell me how to do my videos and This last one was the screen resolution wasn't correct, and I've had all sorts. I've never had a nice comment from this person. So I went to have a look at her fabulous videos. Sorry, their fabulous videos on their YouTube channel. She hasn't got any. So she's telling me how to do mine. But honestly, everything, you know, that yarn's not right. You've not got that correct. I can't remember what it was. There was a chart that I put up, and she said, "Oh, that's not correct." So I always do my research. You know, I've been in the business for an awful long time, and I do get things wrong. You know, and I think, gosh, I've been doing that wrong for all these years. You know, but I do a bit of research before I bring things to you. Usually when I bring things to you, it's because it's been a request. It's been requested for me to go and have a look and put it out, like needle sizes and yarn widths, yarn lengths. We in industry, because obviously that's what my background is, we often work in a slightly different way. You know, we don't buy wool in balls. You know, we buy it on, or it's sent to us on cones, and so often, you know, when I'm talking about home work and home knitting and crochet, I'll go and research things just to make sure I'm getting it right. Also, all the countries, for some reason or other, I've got no idea why this is, but we all talk about yarn weights especially, and needle sizes. We all refer to them differently. In here in the UK, we have what we call 4-ply, and then double knitting, and then Aran weight, and then chunky, and then super chunky. We've got lace weight right at the beginning, which is more what we'll do for crochet, or what then we call 2-ply, which is when we make the fine wedding ring shawls. I don't know if you've seen those. It's a baby shawl that's so fine that you can pass it through the centre of a wedding ring. I might do actually a video on that at some point. So this person, every single time I've mentioned anything like that, she's tried to correct me. So, love, do your own channel. Hello. Don't use my gorgeous people who subscribe to me here to get your point across. Make your own channel. I wish I could swear on YouTube. I don't know if you know, but when we upload the videos, we have to declare whether there's anything controversial, if we're using any bad language or anything like that in it, and then it changes the audience that he puts it out to. So I'm usually quite careful what I'm saying. But anyway, off. Go to your own channel. You know who you are. Anyway, that's that one addressed. Next one. Oh dear, dear, dear. This came this week. I was actually, it takes a lot to offend me. It really does. But I did feel slightly offended. Slightly offended by this. So, right, I'm going to read what she says. Sorry, they say. For goodness sake. So, she's put that she has a criticism on my video. I have a criticism. So she says, the use of AI generated thumbnails on my videos makes me look very lazy. What? So I'll tell you what happens when we upload videos. I use a program to upload the videos. The if you've not done it before on YouTube, it has to be in the right format and the right size and all kinds of things. And the program that I use, it tests 3 thumbnails, and it's usually one that they choose, one that I've chosen, and one AI generated thumbnail. And it puts that out for a little bit of time, and it sees which thumbnail gets the most attention or the most clicks, and then it will use that thumbnail. So those that don't know, as a creator or an influencer, I've been called recently. I really like that. Apparently I'm influencing people, apparently. Go figure. As an influencer, the more clicks that I get, the more clicks that YouTube get, the more advertising there is, etc., the better it is for all of us that are kind of at this end of the business. So that's why it does that's why it tests, just to see which one is going to bring in the most clicks. So far from being lazy, love, rather than just pick a still from the video, I actually put a bit of work into it. And she puts the only reason that they clicked on the video was because it showed up in their homepage, and they thought to themselves, in inverted commas, AI from someone who claims to be a knitter. I need to see who this bum is. What? Claims to be a knitter. Just look back over the videos, love. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, but I can knit. I don't claim to be a knitter. I actually am a knitter. I've had books published. I've written patterns for manufacturers and magazines all over the world. So I can actually, I think, quite reasonably call myself a knitter. I don't just claim to be a knitter. So then she puts, she hates knitting herself. Why are you watching? Actually, honestly, beggars belief, really. So then she talks about, why men shouldn't knit. Another one, why men shouldn't knit. Her partner, apparently, the only thing he will do is mend the crutch of his favourite hiking trousers. I'm not interested in your partner's crutch, contrary to popular belief. I'm not interested in your partner's crutch. Why are you telling me this? I've got absolutely no idea. So anyway, what she takes great offence at, apparently, is people who claim to be artists. I don't claim to be. I claim to be an artist. I've shown in galleries all over the world as well. If you have a look on the opening titles, you'll see some of my work that's been in galleries. But I don't claim, it's not what I call myself. I don't claim to be an artist at all. But apparently, according to this, I claim to be an artist, but I use AI. So therefore, I can't be an artist. Then she goes on to say some rambling on about I'm using too much electricity and water because the program generates an AI image. Yeah, the big servers do use water to cool, but actually, if you do a bit of research, you'll see it's closed. It's a closed loop system. It's recycled, but that's completely, that's moving off the subject. So anyway, in answer to you, love, go and mend your boyfriend's trousers. They are. So let's actually now, now I've had a good old ramble, let's move on to the subject of today's video. So, I'm going to move that. Hold on, I'm just moving this on the computer screen because I'm aware that I keep looking in the wrong direction. Oh, it's going to be one of them days. So, as a designer and maker and all those kind of things, I do buy and I do get sent an awful lot of yarn on cones, and I realised that for us it's so much more convenient, it's so much easier. There's not balls of yarn rolling all over the place, even though if you've been watching other videos you'll see I've discovered the yarn genie, and it's kind of, I'm being all evangelical over that. I'm telling everybody that I've got a yarn genie, and they all think I'm bonkers as it is. So I thought what I'd do is share with you a couple of my favourite suppliers. So if I'm buying yarn myself, either to hand knit or crochet with, or to machine knit with, these are the companies that I buy from. They don't know I'm doing this. I'm not being paid for this. One of my favourites, and this is the yarn snob end of my personality. I know I've done lots of videos on buying yarn from Temu and how to get cheap yarn from Amazon and all kinds of stuff, but I do really enjoy every now and then using the really good gear, high-end stuff. So this company is called Yarn on Cone. I'll put the details on the screen now. Just have a little look at the website and just flick through everything they've got, as well as doing yarn for hand knitting, machine knitting, and for crochet. They also do yarn for weaving as well. So anybody that's interested in any of that, just go and have a look at Yarn on Cone. I'm just about to start over on the Patreon site with my lovelies over there a new knit along, and we're about to do a very traditional Fair Isle waistcoat that we're knitting in the round with steeks. We're actually going to cut the knitting after we've done it, and we're all going to do that together over there, and I'm going to show very old ways of doing things. So if you want to go over there and join in with that, feel free, you're more than welcome. And so I'm using 3 colours for this waistcoat, and I'm using recycled wool for it from Yarn on Cone. Oh, and it's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. This is number 1, which is lovely. And this is the second colour I'm going to use. Wait a minute. And then this is the third colour that I'm going to use. I'm using these 3 colours. Let's get it right in the thing. I'm using these 3 together. And benefits of this, obviously there's no, I'm not joining yarn at the end of balls. All 3 of those can be on the floor at the side of me, and they just pull off the top of the cone. So it's much easier to keep them straight. There's no tangles and all that kind of stuff. And disadvantage of using cone yarns is it comes, in a large size. If you only want maybe 50 grams of a particular colour, then it costs too much to buy it like this. However, anything that's left, add it to your stash, So that's Yarn on Cone. Go and have a little look and see what they've got over there. It's got some really, really interesting stuff. I like the fact that they do a recycled yarn. Anybody that's watching regularly will know that I do, no matter what I'm talking about, I do say at the end, wherever you can, use recycled or repurposed yarns. Don't put stuff into landfill, especially if we're doing petrochemical fibres, acrylics, etc. They take an awful long time to break down in the environment. So if we can reuse those, all the better. So the next company that I use on a very regular basis is Yeoman Yarns. They do all kinds of gorgeousness over there, from man-mades, from industrial yarns. This particular yarn that I'm popping on the screen now there, Tibet Tweed, is a silk and merino blend yarn. I've used this several times and it's really nice. It's really, really nice. This goes through the knitting machine as well as for hand knitting. They also do a recycled wool. That's this one. And this is, again, really, really nice. This one, a bit like the one from Yarn on Cone. When you're knitting it, it feels like a bit thin, and there's not much bulk to it. But when you finish it at the end, when you block it or wash it, it's what we call in the industry, it blooms. So it all swells up, and it really, really is gorgeous. I can't recommend that one highly enough. So buying Yarn on Cone is convenient. It tangles less. It actually stores. It's a bit easier to store it, if I'm honest, because you don't get that kind of mess over there. It works out in general. If you bought the same yarn in balls or hanks, that would work out a little bit more expensive, because of course the manufacturers have got another process to do by putting it into balls. So it works out in general slightly cheaper. Disadvantages is you have to buy a certain amount of it. If you're only buying in 50-gram balls, you can buy the exact quantity that you want. If you're buying Yarn on Cone, you're likely to have some left at the end. But if you do Fair Isle a lot, like I do, or stranded colour knitting, you can use all those little bits up for projects later on. So if you haven't thought about using Yarn on Cone, have a little go to the websites that I mentioned and see what they're offering. They do lots of different kinds of yarn. It's at the Yarn Snob end. Apart from Yeoman Yarns do acrylic. Have I got some here? They do acrylic yarn on combs that works out extremely reasonable, and this is very, very good quality. They do colours like this. Why did I buy that? I've got absolutely no idea what I'm going to do with it. I'll do something with it. You watch. So, I'm chucking stuff on the floor. Again, like I've said before, bending down's okay, but getting up is more of a problem. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed me rambling on. Fat bald bloke talking about yarn again. It's been lovely to have you along. Please like and subscribe. That really does help out the channel. When you click on the subscribe button, it costs nothing, and what it does, it tells YouTube that you're interested in my content, and then it puts me out to more people, so that really does help. pop over to my Patreon site. I'll put the details up there and have a look. Say we're just about to start the knit along with this gorgeousness, and in the meantime, happy yarn smithing. Very much love as always, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.